Hello, this is Nicholas von Handorf, and I'm doing the business plan on Dunkin' Donuts. The company was founded by Bill Rosenberg in Quincy, Massachusetts in 1917. He started off selling donuts for 5 cents and also premium cups of coffee for only 10 cents. So back in the time, it wasn't expensive, it was at people's needs, and it was just right there for everybody to pick up. In 1955, he opened his first Dunkin' Donuts after a lot of success with his previous restaurant he opened. He called it the Open Kettle to start, and it was very popular, high demand. Everybody wanted it, so he opened up Dunkin' Donuts, and it's been history from there. The first major turning point they had in their menu was when they introduced the Munchkin Donuts, the little Munchkins, in 1972. That was a big hit with people when they could. It was not the regular donut; it was kind of smaller, and people. That was the first time they saw it, so they wanted them. There are more than 11,300 Dunkin' restaurants worldwide, 41 states in the United States, and there's also international restaurants. It has a steady growth revenue, which has increased from 1.25 billion to 1.32 in just 2 years. Being a coffee chain, the competitive forces are obviously there, whether it's Starbucks, McDonald's, gas stations. Everybody needs coffee, everybody wants coffee, and it's usually kind of at their hand and they don't want to go far, so whatever they can take, they'll get. But what Dunkin' kind of sets themselves apart as is they're also a bakery, and they also have Baskin Robbins along with it, so not only can you get a donut, a coffee, but you can also go right next door and get ice cream from Baskin Robbins. According to Brand Keys, Dunkin' Donuts has maintained the #1 spot of customer loyalty in the coffee industry within the last 10 years, and they're also voted the #1 fast serve restaurant in 2020. But the biggest thing they face every day is the threat of substitution, whether it's going to Starbucks. The main thing Starbucks has over them is kind of the atmosphere they have. Just the tables, the nicer couches, and everything. So people will go to Starbucks to do their work, and then they'll also buy a coffee while they're just there. So that's kind of how mostly Starbucks set themselves apart, and kind of has a competitive advantage over Dunkin' Donuts. But what Dunkin' has done recently to be environmentally friendly, they have introduced the double-walled paper cup. So they've had just like the regular polyester cups, and with people buying so much coffee, it's hurting the environment. So they figured to set themselves apart, they're going to do the double-walled paper cup, and it's been a hit so far. And it's kind of set themselves apart so far, and they're constantly looking for new ways to expand. The biggest input I would have for them to change is to kind of copy Starbucks's in-store like atmosphere, because when you go to Dunkin', it's mostly you'll get your donuts, you'll get your coffee, walk out, get on with your day. It's not really the atmosphere where Starbucks, if you go in, there would be at least 10 people just working on work, reading the newspaper, drinking their coffee, mingling. So that's kind of the biggest thing that I had for Dunkin' that I would change. But with supplier power being the opposite of buying power, Dunkin's supplier power is extremely low because there's so many other opportunities for coffee, and especially with at-home coffee makers, just upgrading daily, and people can go buy the bag of Starbucks coffee or Dunkin' and just pour it into their coffee maker. It's just they face threat of substitution every day. Along with the Porter's 5 forces, threat of new entrants, or we'll start with the buying power. Dunkin' brand's buying power is extremely high because the demand for coffee and baked goods is essential. And while Starbucks sells basically the same things, just a higher price. Threat of substitute products or services, with the threat of there being a bunch of alternatives in the coffee industry, such as other stores, gas stations, McDonald's, like I mentioned earlier, they're always at a threat of new competitors coming in. Rivalry among existing competitors. Their rivalry with Starbucks goes back about 20 years, and they've been head-to-head ever since. They sell pretty much the same thing. Dunkin' just has donuts, but Starbucks is kind of upgrading and has their bakery and kind of fancy little cakes and cake pops and all that.